Hello, we're talking about putting equations into Word documents, and I've put a slightly more elaborate equation than E equals mc squared into my document, and I'm going to go through how to produce it, and I'm going to do it two ways. The first time I'm going to do it using the menu commands, so using a lot of mouse work for the equation editor, and then I'm going to show what for me is a quicker way using the keyboard and keyboard shortcuts. So this equation, it's a fraction, it's got fractions within fractions, it's got a group in parentheses, and it's got a function, so various things to do. So on the left hand side we've got a subscript, so I could go to the menu thing, ask for a subscript, back T, capital I, equals, and then the right hand side is a fraction, so I can select a fraction, backspace, sorry not backspace, left arrow, 1, forward arrow, and then 1 plus another fraction, and that's left arrow, 1, forward arrow, 4, forward arrow, and then a group in parentheses, so I could select that, and then I left arrow to highlight the group inside it, and then that's the sum of two fractions, so I could do that, and then the one on top is a subscript Z1 and the one forward arrow to get to the bottom, so it's another subscript Z2, and then plus, and then rather than go through that again, I can go shift left arrow to select that function, control C to copy it, right arrow, control V to paste it, and then I realise now that it's supposed to be Z2 over Z1 plus Z1 over Z2. I've got that wrong, so I can correct the first one if I just go left arrow until I get there. Notice that when I'm like that, the whole Z1 has that grey highlight. As I go another left, then it just highlights the element I'm working on. I can do shift left arrow to select it and change that to a 2, and then I can go down here to do the same with the 1, and then that is how it should be. But of course these parentheses should all be raised to a power, so I need a superscript, and now I'm going to go back, and now I'm going to shift left arrow and select the whole thing. I could control X to cut it and paste it, or I could just grab it with the mouse. So I'm just hovering the mouse over it, left mouse button down, and then drag it into that box, and then click in there to put the 2 there. And then the function, notice that the function name is set upright rather than italicized, because functions are set differently. So I'm going to go to the functions section there, and it handily already has sine there. It's got sine to the -1 rather than sine squared, but I'm just going to pick that example and then edit the -1 to a 2. And notice it's got this associated group for the thing that it's a sine of. So back to there, highlight that and make it sine squared. We appear to have this strange floating grey box over the sign, but that won't show in the final document. And then keeping everything inside this box so it groups together, I want subscript K2, right arrow, but notice I'm staying within the box. If I press another right arrow, then I'm outside the whole thing. So left arrow again to go back in there, and then the K2L product is all grouped together with the sine squared. Now that's quite a lot of work. That's reproduced the equation, but that's quite a lot of work with the mouse, and I generally prefer to use the keyboard to do that where I can, and the equation editor makes that quite easy. So I'm going to insert another equation and make the same equation again, but this time I'm going to use keyboard shortcuts wherever I can, because they get auto-corrected into the things I want. So if I want a subscript, T underscore, that's shift minus sign, and then I, that hasn't turned it into a subscript, but if I now press the space bar to show that I've finished with that, then it will be auto-corrected, the same as a word that you misspelled would be auto-corrected after you hit space. And it hasn't inserted a space, but it's taken that space bar to mean that's the end of the group. Apply any auto-corrects. So that's done my subscript without needing to play around with the mouse. So then I can do equals, and I can similarly do 1 slash and then space, and that's made it into a fraction. I can left arrow to go down there, and in a similar way I can do 1 plus 1 slash 4 space. I can open some parentheses, and in fact if I open and then close and then space, it turns that into these proper grouped ones. I'm going to delete that and just show you that before I hit the space I could delete one of those and not the other, but once they're grouped I can't delete one without the other. I can only select the whole thing. And then inside those parentheses I can go Z underscore 2 slash Z underscore 1 space, that's resolved that's auto-corrected the subscripts, and another space auto-corrects the fraction, plus Z1 slash Z underscore 2 space, and let's make that one. If I want a superscript rather than a subscript, I use this symbol. It's a shifted 6. Its typesetter's name is a caret, C-A-R-E-T, but that, then a 2 and a press makes it the parentheses properly squared. I still have to use the mouse to introduce a function group, but I've just done sign there. If I wanted some function that wasn't there, then I could type it in there, but I will just type sign, but notice that it's coming out with the correct upright font, and then I can use again caret 2 space to make it squared. I'm going to right arrow to go over to this group and then go K underscore 2 L, and then that's it. And for me, and if I was having punctuation as part of it, I will put it there. And that for me is far easier to do than doing a lot of acrobatics with the mouse, but whichever you prefer, it's just good to know that both options are available to you. We'll do more of that in the next video.